Hello, everybody. Reggie Time here. I'm with Simon, and because Waller 02 has whined about my intros being too long, we're not going to fucking do one. We're going to look at some hands with Simon. He's played, I think they're off in the blinds, aren't they, Simon?
Yeah, these ones are, yeah.
Where you've been having a few problems lately. Simon's someone I've spoken to for ages. He's been on the channel before, and he's getting back into it after having a bit of time away. And we've been looking at like how he's been getting on, and he's getting murdered in the blinds. He's doing really good everywhere else. He's getting murdered in the blinds. So today, these are all going to be pots in the blinds. I don't think there's any massive pots in here. They're just typical spots where I think maybe we could have done something different. There's some hands I picked, some hands Simon's picked. So yeah, let's get stuck into it, young man.
Hello, how are you?
Old man,
Okay?
or whatever. Yeah, I'm right as rain, mate. Yeah,
Good.
right as rain.
Yeah, so I mean, as you said, we're getting absolutely crucified in the blinds, and it's definitely an area I need to work on. So, good to pick out a few hands and just look at some blunders, if you like.
Yeah, and we had a long conversation before we started the video because I was talking about it, and you were like adamant that you weren't doing a lot of the things that I talked about. You're like, I'm really not doing that, Reg. And then when we looked into it, we found a few like spots where just these little small leaks. And I was speculating that you were maybe like defending a little bit too much from the blinds with like marginal hands multi-way, and then that's where your red line tanks. That's the problem in your blinds, isn't it? Your red line's tanking.
Yeah.
And you were saying, I really don't think I'm doing that, Reg. And then we found just a few spots, and there's probably loads of spots where that we haven't even found, where you've just called check fold, where you're just losing an extra one big blind or an extra 1.5 big blinds that you never consider reviewing, because who's going to review a pot where they've lost 1.5 big blinds? But when your red line's hammering as much as yours is, it's an area you've got to look at. And like there's loads of people. I've had loads of sessions with our very good friend Duesenberg, and he constantly fucking berates me for my big blind play. But my actual win rate in the big blind, it's not quite as good as his, because he's really good from the blinds, but it's way better than the vast majority of the reg population. And I do it very differently to him. I'm insanely fucking nitty from the blinds. I massively overfold my big blind when I'm going to be out of position. I overfold it slightly versus small blind, but not as much as I used to. But when I'm going to be out of position, I usually overfold. I don't 3-bet very much from it. I just play incredibly defensively and just don't get myself into spots where we're probably like with some shitty calls that are like probably not making much money, and then like we talked about before the video, where then I'm going to be out of position with a hand that's maybe only got 20 to 25% equity pre-flop, and I'm going to under-realize that equity, and I'm also going to pay a lot of rake. So there's just a lot of these defends that like solvers will have you defending that I think in the games we're playing and the site we play on, where the rake's high and you get so many more multi-way pots, that we just shouldn't do it. I think there's just so little edge in EV in doing it that we just don't bother. Just avoid the spot. Doesn't matter. Like there's going to be a hand coming up later that you play, and that there's so many hands where like it's got min raise, cut off, button calls, small blind calls. We've got 7-4 suited, we like flick the call in because we're getting 1,000,000 to 1. And then, as we talked about, you'll flop a little piece. You'll flop bottom pair with the backdoor flush draw maybe, and you'll check call quarter pot bet. Then the turn will come, and it won't change very much. Someone will bet 1/3 pot. You're like, well, do I call this again? And before you know it, you've got to the river. You put maybe 9 or 10 blinds in, and never really given yourself a chance to win the pot. And there's so many of those hands that you don't review, that I don't review, that people watching this video don't review. And then they wonder why they're doing so shite from the blinds. And it's because of all those things that never get reviewed. Because like, oh, well, I was getting a good price. I was getting a good price. I was always getting a reasonable price. So it's not an issue. But the problem is that you're getting a good price for something you don't need.
Yeah.
So it's why, when you go in Poundland, you don't buy an iPhone charger. Because, where's a £1 iPhone charger? And then you plug it in and your fucking socket blows up and your house burns down. There's a reason why bargains are generally shit. because what you're buying, that was at a good price for something that's actually quite shit. It's the same in poker. You're getting a good price to defend your blinds, but often the hands you're defending, they're not worth defending, really. Maybe by overfolding slightly pre, you're losing like 0.05 of a big blind. But if like you're not going to be good enough post flop, and most of us aren't, to like make good decisions on every single street, that tiny bit of EV that you would have made pre flop by defending correctly is just going to be fucking lost. And this is something I've been saying for literally 10 or 15 years. And loads of people have told me I'm talking out my ass. If something to defend, it's just a defend, Reg. No, there's way more to poker than just like, right, well, this is a pre-flop defend. So just do it and then deal with post-flop. If you stink a little bit post-flop, or it's multi-way all the time, or you're in a higher rake environment, all these things, they eventually add up to make something a slight losing play. And if you're doing that too often, you end up with a minus 50 big blinds 100 win rate in the big blind rather than minus 35 or minus 30 or minus 25. And that's where it comes from. But because people can defend their place because range charts say you've got to defend that, oh, that's not a mistake because range chart says, fuck the range charts, fuck them. You know, range charts are like, yeah, if you're going to play optimally, defend these hands. None of us are playing. We're playing 20 and L. We're not playing optimally. We're fucking rubbish. So, you know, let's just avoid a lot of the trouble spots and traps where we just hemorrhage big blinds in a really passive, kind of like silent killer way, and then just be a bit more like, fuck it, I'm just not taking these spots because they're not worth very much. Sorry, Ryan, I've ranted too long and we haven't clicked a fucking button yet. I hope you're still watching, you big hairy cunt. Let's go, sir. Let's go.
Okay. So now this is funny enough that already this is a spot that already now I would be folding in game today. A multi-way spot here, funnily enough, but
so we've got a cut-off open, we've got a button call. Small blind, have they folded?
They've folded, yeah.
So this in GTO world is just a pure squeeze.
Yeah.
Just a pure, it's just not a call. And, you know, do you need to do this? Probably, because it is close to pure. So it's probably one we can't turn down. But calling is just like a really bad option. Again, you're in a really high rake environment. You've got a 50/8 in there. So like trying to like negotiate post flop against people who are just really passive and probably going to be a bit stationary and what have you, really makes you like when you're already just like, I need to make a hand and just value bet now because aren't we going to be able to bluff through two players, especially when one of them is so loose passive. I think like just squeeze this pre. I mean, I probably wouldn't squeeze this pre pure. I mean, it looks like we should. It's GTO saying that this is just like a 83% squeeze, 2% fold. Do I think you need to do it against a 3x against someone? I know this player. We haven't got names up because we just don't want to use player names. But I know this player quite well. He's a fucking magnificent nit against this guy with this other guy in. An ace 10 off, I think I would just like exploit fold this.
Yeah.
And not give a fuck because this guy is so tight. The other guy is so like passive. It's just going to be a spot where it's just going to be hard to generate EV post flop, and people can like call me out for being a bit nitty or what have you, and turning down almost what is almost a pure squeeze. I just think it's unnecessary, and I just wouldn't take this spot personally.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying about.
But if I was, I would absolutely squeeze. I would not call.
Yeah, and I think, as I say, in game today, I'm folding this, knowing this player here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Can I just add the caveat that if villain 1 was 100 blinds deep, I would squeeze this probably close to the correct frequency.
Yeah.
But because he's not, I wouldn't. This is why I'm not doing it, because I don't want to make this like 15, 16 bigs here and then have him either call or even worse, fucking rip on me.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, right, now what? If he's like, say he's calling pocket 10s, pocket jacks, which he could easily do, he's 50/8. He could easily have pocket 10s, pocket jacks in his range, maybe even pocket fucking queens. And then he just rips on me, and it's just like, right, well, I either have to call and try and take a flip, or call and be dominated, or he'll just call, and then the flop's going to come down 9-4 deuce, and what are we going to do against someone who's like ranges like really fucking wide still, but got lots of hands that aren't folding? It just gets messy against these fish that aren't playing full stacks. So that's the main reason why I would fold pre, is because of stack depth. If both players, if we were all at least 100 blinds deep, then I would actually go with the squeeze at a pretty high frequency, because we're going to get through villain 4 a lot because he's a nit, and then we're going to get heads up against villain 1 where stacks are a lot deeper. We can hopefully use our what should be a large skill advantage to mitigate our lack of position.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Okay, so this is one of the situations now that's a bit grim. You flop top pair, the most likely person to be aggressive is the guy who raised, but sadly, he's also a monumental fucking stain. You're like post flop. I know this guy really well. He's a fucking nit. If you just like pull up his hood, click on his hood a moment. If you look at like, no, not that bit. Oh no, you're on the. So it's not going to work. I don't think. If you could just click on like a black bit of his hood, but I think this is because I want to get to post flop stuff.
But, for some reason it doesn't have those.
Yeah, it's because you're on the trial, probably.
Right, yeah.
Right, but yeah, I know this guy is like just a massive post flop fucking nit. So we're going to start like check calling potentially 2 or more streets against someone who isn't finding as many bluffs as he should here, but is probably finding quite a lot of the value. So it's already a pretty ropey spot.
Yeah.
And if he checks and villain one bets and he's 50/8, again, we're going to be check calling down against people who I don't expect to have particularly wide betting ranges. So we've flopped top pair, fantastic news. Now, how are we going to play it profitably?
Yep. Okay. So I check. He bets. Fold here, and yeah, I'm calling.
Yeah, well, we can't fold. You bet 1/3 pot, which is pretty normal. There's nothing we can do here but call. Again, just a check just by pure procedure. We're not going to have any leads on this. It doesn't change enough for us to start having leads. And now he's upsizing his bet. And again, this is fucking terrifying. His bluffs are going to probably have reasonable equity. I mean, what bluffs can he have here? King, Jack of clubs, he probably checks that back. King 10 of clubs got a shit ton of equity against us. His bluffs are going to come from probably clubs, which are going to have, it's not already a made hand. They're going to have like a shit ton of equity against us. This guy's like really, he's just not aggressive. I actually think against this player, I would already just fold this hand.
Right.
But we probably, it's probably a mistake. But it's just that it's a really rough spot because now we're bluff catching. Because we don't get any value that this guy's got. So we're bluff catching against somebody who doesn't find close to enough bluffs. We're going to check again.
River. And he bets. And yeah, I mean.
So what do you? So we're just in this line, and now he's used, in my opinion, he's used a bad size on the river. I mean, this to me is just telegraphing that he's got like a. What do I think he's telegraphing here? I think he's going to have 2 pair here a lot.
Yeah.
And I think he should bet bigger, to be honest with you. But I'm wondering if we can, because he's sized down. So now he's saying, with this size, he's not saying I've got a set. He's not saying I've got a straight. He's saying I've got something worse than a set, but for value. So I would almost contemplate raising this hand as a bluff. But the problem is, he just isn't going to fold enough hands. But I think this is we need 21% equity. We just have to call this because he's just roping us in.
Yeah.
But I really don't like it and maybe it's because I know this player really well, and this player's got an absurdly high won when bet fucking river statistics, and maybe I'm just scared by that, knowing what sort of player he is. Maybe this is just bog standard. Maybe it's just a trivial call, and who cares? But because I know this player, I don't want to call. I'd almost rather just fucking spew here and just do some nit spew. Because the guy doesn't have a straight here, I don't think. He doesn't have a set. The problem is he going to fold ace jack, ace queen? Maybe not. But I feel like I want to raise this more than I want to fucking call it against this guy. But I don't want to be in the spot in general. Let's just see what happened, fella. Because I'm interested to know what you had now.
I just called. Jack queen, 2 pair. So like you say, 2 pair. But yeah.
Yeah. Nothing much to say about that. I mean, we had the best hand pre-flop. It just goes to show how, even though we had the best hand pre-flop with top pots, we flopped top pair, still a really relatively tough spot to negotiate. Because if he doesn't turn the jack, he checks back.
Yeah.
And then the river comes to 4. We bet, maybe he calls, maybe he doesn't. So we only get to win a small pot quite often.
Yeah.
If we flop gin with whatever it will be, like Queen Jack King. Yeah, he's got 2 pairs, but we're never going to win a big pot from him. You know, if we flop trips, we're not going to win a big pot from him. It's just like this. I just think like against these really nitty guys, like the ace-10 offs of the world, you are better off just like doing what GTO's doing, just 3-betting them pre a lot. But that, what I say, once the guy with the 50 big blind stack comes into the equation, all of a sudden, like your options are just really fucking limited. And so many people watching this video about Red, shut the fuck up, fold pre, don't be fucking stupid. But I actually think it's probably, you know, the amount of money you're going to make by defending pre is so fucking tiny that I just personally, I don't think it's fucking worth it. Is that a bad advice? This is why I don't offer actual poker coaching anymore, because that's theoretically bad advice. You know, anyone who like remotely well drilled in poker theory, like fucking shut up, Rich. But there's poker theory and then there's poker fucking practice. And you know, like in theory, we should never fold that pre. We should like be playing it the way that the wizard wants us to play it. But in practice, with like me, you, almost everyone else playing these games who doesn't have the time or the inclination to turn ourselves into a fucking human robot. You know, like, do we really do? Is it a spot we desperately need to take? And in my opinion, no, it isn't. And that makes me a nit. That makes me everything. But I've survived in these games for a long time using these strategies, and that's all that fucking matters to me. So yeah, theoretically, I'm giving bad advice out. In practice to people who are losing at the game, and then get all the little frustrations that this sort of brings, the tilt that it brings, the annoyance that it brings, the irritation it brings, the effect it has on your mental game, all them things, they all fucking add up to detract from your win rate. And that's something that people who like just talk all the time about, like just following, like if something's plus EV, just fucking do it, or and what have you. You can't argue with them factually, but there's so much more to poker than that, and like the mental game aspects for recreational players who don't have the time or the inclination to work with solvers 5, 10, 15, 20 hours a week. They've got, I don't know, 15 to 20 hours a week to devote to poker, and they want to spend most of that time playing. So I think a lot of the time, just like turning down marginal spots is probably as good advice as you're going to get from anywhere else. It's not popular. People are going to be like, fuck off, Reg, but it's actually some of the best advice many recreational players could have. If it's a marginal spot and you're out of position, just turn it down. Yeah. And you'll just keep yourself a lot safer. You really will.
Okay. Yeah, that's a fair point. Right.
Next hand.
And you'll have to just remind me, is it
top right corner, little arrow, fast forward.
Where am I?
Or you could just do the drop down box and highlight the next hand.
This one up here, yeah?
Yep.
This one.
Next hand down.
Right, okay. Okay.
So we have a reg opening under the gun. On middle
folds round to us.
Folds round to us. I think we can go either way here versus a reg. By the way, your table selection looks really shit here. You got 3 regs you and a fish with 3.42, whatever that is, fucking 32 big blinds, is it?
Yeah.
No, 15 big blinds, 60. Yeah, don't be at that table.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been there long, to be fair.
No one's making money at that table because the fish hasn't got enough money. Here, this is another villain. I'm aware who this is. He's a bit of a shit reg, to be honest. I think call or 3-bet he is fine. I have no real preference.
Yeah, I think I'll just call here.
This player is one of these shit regs that just c-bets. You can see there c-bet percentage too high. So yeah, we're going to check it. We're going to face a c-bet a lot of the time here versus this player. So we need to prepare ourselves for that already. And because he's over c-betting, he's too mergy with his c-bets. We probably need to like defend quite robustly against him. I'm not saying this is the hand in particular that we should check raise, but we need to be having a lot of check raises against this player because he's just c-betting too much. He's picking hands from all parts of his range to c-bet with, and they just can't tolerate being raised. So This isn't a hand that I would check raise against him, but when you play against this guy in general, just be aware that he's got a pretty major leak with his c betting, and like try and get after that by just attacking them where you can, where you think you've got bits of equity, or where you just think the board isn't good for him. Just attack his ridiculously like wide c betting ranges.
Okay, yep, makes sense. We check. He bets.
Yeah, I'm not sure I like his size here very much, to be honest. It's a pretty coordinated board. He's just gone for the typical shit reg range c bet size. I don't like his size here. I think he should be sizing up a little bit. So this is like, I know I guided you to a couple of Peter Clark videos last week, and one of his bits of advice was attack lazy range bets.
Yeah,
if you've watched the video yet.
Yeah.
This hand might have a better hand than us here, but typically this is the sort of player who makes loads of lazy range bets. So we want to be attacking this like quite often. Not with this hand. This hand just calls. But if we had some like, I don't know, if we say we had ace 10 of spades here, or king 10, or flush draws, or like maybe some like low wheel card, you want to have hands here that like can just like have backdoor equity and just raise absolutely fucking loads of them. Just punish him for his like pretty lazy big error that he's making. And this hand just calls, but I'd be finding loads and loads of check raises against this player.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, we do call 2 pair.
So we're going to check again just as a matter of procedure. I size it up to like 2/3 pot. I think we just have a call again here. I mean, this player does do a fair bit of barreling. But I think our hands, it's like, I don't think it's strong enough to raise and get called by. I mean, yeah, we can raise here and get called by some draws, etc. I don't think I want to reopen the betting here, though. I'm happy just calling again and then playing some rivers.
Yeah, we call.
And that is a pretty disastrous river.
Pretty horrible, isn't it?
Yeah. I think we just have like I'm trying to think, like, if we block, does he call with any worse 2 pairs? I don't think so. Maybe, though. No, I doubt it. No, he doesn't, because he doesn't bet. He doesn't. Try to think when he got worse hands he can call with, but if we block, don't think there is. I think we just have a check. I like to block these boards because I don't want him checking back like worse ace X that might stab the flop because he c-bets too much, hits a pair on the turn, c-bets again, and then say checks back ace 9 on this river or ace 8. But I don't think there's enough of those hands. He's probably got like all suited aces up to ace 9 that probably most of those probably play this way. So I think there is some merit to blocking here. Because I don't think he's going to turn any worse hands into a bluff. So I don't really want to check call. I certainly don't want to check raise. Yeah, I actually think block here.
Right.
I think block just to prevent him checking back. He's like ace deuce through ace 9. Obviously, ace 5 of those beats us. But I think I prefer block. We can just block and fold to a raise because he's never going to raise us without a better hand. We should never say never, but so rarely going to raise us with a bluff here. So yeah, I actually think I'd like block here and just like a little quarter potter, like a little €1, €1.20, something like that. Just puts him in a spot where, yeah, he's got an easy raise when he's got a straight. But if he's got a set, what's he going to do? He's just going to call you, isn't he? He's not going to raise a set here.
Mm-hmm.
So when he raises, he's going to be super, super polar. And we could just like easily fold to it. So I think block is the line here.
Yeah, I don't. I check here. And he bets 280.
See, I don't like his size here because he's now saying I've got a straight. All right, I mean, does he want to bet a set on this board when we can have loads of 10x in our range? I don't think he wants to bet a set. I think that I don't know. Maybe he has to bet a set. I don't know. I don't think I like his size though. I think, if he's betting mostly, I guess if he wants to bet sets, he has to use his size. But I'm going to imagine he turns up here with the straight quite a lot. And I think like he just needs to, I don't know. I think we should just fold anyway. I'm presuming you're going to call. But I think we should just fold. And if this guy turns up with something that's not a straight, then good, he's picked a good size. But I think most here is just saying I've got a straight, and I think his size is letting him down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure actually what I did here. I did call, yeah. And he had the 10 jack.
Yeah, I think he's made a significant sizing error there in the river. Yeah, so I think you played that hand properly until the river. Then I think as an exploit, we can just fold the river.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, block. Well, actually, just block the river, block fold.
Yeah.
But as played, just check fold and just as a big exploit.
Okay. Yeah, no, it makes
Not
sense.
just against this guy, by the way. Hi, Ryan, but against the population. I enjoyed that. Thanks for letting us do that one.
Right, next one. This is. I'm not going to move that out of the way. That makes a lot of difference. But there you go.
Excellent. This is another one of the ones that I picked to look at, isn't it?
It is, yeah, yeah. So early position open, folds round to us.
Yeah, and I'm just in very much team fold pre here. It's 3x, not 2.5x. They're in a high rake environment, and I checked it, and even that GTO folds this at 20. I always use the GTO with the 25 ranges, and this is just almost pure folding versus 2.5x. So it's just a pure fold against 3x.
Yeah.
And these are like the kind of spots where you and loads of other players, it's like, I can't fold this, I've got like an ace, etc. And it's just like, it doesn't make money pre, and it's just going to it's not going to realize post. It's just a losing play. So this should just be a fold pre.
Yeah.
So it's like a non-existent spot. And typically, when I'm talking with people, I don't like reviewing non-existent spots. But for the purpose of this video, we'll look at it because, it proves that it's hopefully going to go on to demonstrate a little bit why it's like this is a non-existent spot and this is why we shouldn't be playing the hand.
Yeah, and he's 19-19 as well, only 79 hands, but, he's going to be fairly strong here, isn't he?
Well, even if it's not, it doesn't matter. His just range, his range is just strong. It's just so strong that ace 8's just a bad defend.
Yeah.
So even if he's at the bottom of his open range, it's still we just fold this hand.
Yeah.
Excuse me. My lad wants to make TikTok videos of me just farting on YouTube videos. I need to start getting timestamps of these things so he can just put them on TikTok of me farting.
You'll be a millionaire.
That would be nice. But this way, if you can monetize it, I will be a millionaire because I fart more than the average human without any question. Anyways, come on, carry on. Sorry.
So we do defend.
And now we just got a really bad hand.
Yeah.
So we check. He bets. Yeah, we've no business continuing here. Fine, we've got a gut shot to the shit end. Fine, we've got a backdoor flush draw. Fine, we've got an overcard. They're all shit. Just fold.
Yeah, well, you probably know I don't.
Oh, you're in prime comp mode, aren't you?
Absolutely. I don't like to disappoint, So we check. He checks. Yeah.
I think we have an absolute must bluff spot on the river here.
Mm-hmm.
Must bluff. When he checks back the turn, he's just not going to do a very good job of looking after himself here. It's very unlikely he's like checking back a strong made hand, like a good. If he's got a straight, for example, and not checking back. If he's got a set, he's not checking back. Maybe he's checking back some Queen X out of fear of being check raised. But he's just capped. He's absolutely capped the fuck out of himself, and we need to get after these. I'm not saying that this is necessarily a great hand to do it with, but I just think in general, as a rule, when people check back in position on bricks, they're just capping their range to being like really like quite weak stuff. I think like we just need to a lot of hands where we think maybe we have showdown value, like we got ace high, maybe we have some showdown value. We just don't.
No,
we don't have enough showdown value, and we should just like find loads and loads and loads of bluffs in these spots because villains. And again, it's another thing that I kind of already knew, but I had it like confirmed by watching some Peter Clark stuff. Villains are just really, really shit at protecting their ranges in this spot. They're just like they'll just bet too many of their strong hands on the turn and not check enough of them. So their range that checks back turn is just very, very weak. Sure, sometimes you're going to get called. Of course you are. You know, that's like, you know, if we bet full pot here, if we bet 1.5 pots here, you know, we need them to fold like 60% of the time. But I think they're going to. You know, if we just say fuck it, I'm just betting €3. I think we're going to get enough. I think we're going to get enough folds for that to be better than checking. We check here, we win very little money at showdown. Maybe once in a blue moon, the guy just gives up with fucking some random stuff that we're beating. But so often he's just going to like C-bet Jack X, C-bet 9X, C-bet under pairs, C-bet flush draws that are now checking back but have us beat. So many hands that we could just make fold. And I would just be like, fuck it. He's capped his tits off. If he calls me, good for him. I'd just bet €3 here. And just like have him fold a lot.
I think you know I'm probably unlikely to do that, but I do, but it's tiny, which is
so you're on the right lines.
Yeah.
But you know, this you know, for this to work, he needs to fold not very often. Like it says there, 20%. And maybe he does. Maybe he does fold. Well, he probably does fold that much. So I don't think this player's losing money, but I would just be like, fuck you, pal. I'm just overbetting. Because I think like the overbet works. Like if we overbet here, I think he's folding like 80% plus. I think it just prints money versus population who check back turn on these board textures where it's been like super wet flop, brick turn. They haven't bet. Fuck off, mate. You catch your tits off. I'm getting after you. That I think overbet just performs far better than this size does here. I imagine overbet makes more money than this. This is probably fine, but I imagine overbet makes a lot more.
Yeah. Okay. He does call and his pocket sevens. So yeah, I think like you're right. Overbet there's probably he's going to get him off that, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's just another example of a bad reg making just a shit lazy C bet. Another thing that Pete Clark was saying, like, just attack the lazy range bets. He's so fucking right. There's so many. This guy's got an obviously small sample, but he's got a C bet of 67. If you see regs in the pool who've got C bets of like over 60%, and they're using like over 66, like 60 to 70%, and they're using 1/3 a lot, just get the fuck after them at all times, because they're just doing, it's just shit. It's lazy. There's like because actually like there's not that much, you know, like there's so many boards that you shouldn't be fucking doing that, and they're just doing it because they've pissed around in GTO Wizard, they've pissed around on the drills. They know when they bet 1/3 pot, they so rarely get a blunder. So they're just like, oh, I'm safe doing this. I just do the 1/3 pot thing because I know it's okay, and you could just get after them and punish them. So you can almost turn them into your fish. And you can just get after them with like check raise aggressively for value, check raise aggressively with draws, check raise aggressively with backdoors, all those things. Just get after them. Now, the ones who are c-betting lower frequencies and mixing up their sizes, they're the much better regs in my opinion. And then because they're harder to like outmaneuver. Because then you've actually got to try and pick up, like, right, okay, what parts of their range are they doing this with? And you've got to work a lot harder to try and find an exploit. Whereas against these guys who are just like c-betting too high a frequency using 1/3 pot, you could just exploit them by just check raising all kinds of things because they just can't defend against it enough.
Yeah,
you just can't defend enough.
And that makes sense. I think obviously on the right track, but
not
but I mean, not big enough there.
This should just be a check back from opponent, from villain. In my opinion, he's got no business betting 1/3 pot here. It's an awful C bet, and that's why when he's doing it, that's why he's got to check back so many turns because he just gets lost. And then he gets the river. We bet €3 here. He can call if he wants. Good for him. But I imagine when we bet €3 here, he's folding pocket sevens 80+% of the time.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. Just shut that up. Right. Okay. Move on.
Yep.
Okay. Queen Ace. Raise from the small blind. I presume we can call all three bet here again, can't we?
I think just 3-bet. close to pure. We're up against a whale as well. I wouldn't ever call this. I would just 3-bet this, like absolutely pure.
Yeah.
Against it'd have to be quite the nit for me to not want to 3-bet this hand.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. Because the thing is, we're playing in a high rake of rad, which is winning the pot pre-flop is good. I think. I mean, before again, because who knows what fucking Wizards doing against who knows what things. It seems to like change quite often. But I'm 99% certain this is just going to be a very close to pure 3-bet pre. Yeah, it's just pure, mate. Yeah, it's just an. So this tells me that you. Like, I mean, you had me doubting myself there because because you've called him. Like, is he been looking at something I've not been looking at? Yeah, this just tells me that you just need to like familiarize yourself with big blind spots like blind versus blind, because this is just such a mandatory 3-bet. And on top of that, the guy's playing 58-30. It's an even more mandatory 3-bet. It doesn't matter, you haven't made it. That's why we're here discussing these stuff. We're trying to help you get better. But yeah, just fucking 3-bet these hands. I mean, for an example, we could 3-bet ace 7 off, ace 6 off, ace 4 off, ace 3 off, ace deuce off, ace jack suited plus, ace 5 suited, ace 4 suited. They're all the good hands that we can 3-bet. Obviously, like kings, jacks, queens, tens. Nines is mixing. Then, if you want, but I wouldn't recommend this, you can start throwing in some of the nonsense, like your jack 8, your jack 6 suited, jack 5, jack 4, queen 3, queen 2. I wouldn't do that against this player type. It's also throwing king 9 off, king 8. So, just for example, you could 3-bet really wide, blind versus blind. I don't tend to do it against these types of players. If I'm against like some regs who I know who are opening like way too many hands, I'll try and find some of those extra 3-bets. But against these fish, I don't. I'm relatively tight with my 3-betting, and I'm linear as fuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and this would just be a 3-bet all the time. This hand in particular.
Yeah, I think I've always 3-bet. I would always be 3-betting here. I don't know quite. Why I've done that. To be fair, it's norm. I would. Yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure my thinking here. To be honest with you, it's a bit of a weird one. Because I can't see a reason why I wouldn't there. But yeah, very strange.
Let's be charitable and call it a misclick.
Yeah. Okay. So he leads.
Oh, he overbets.
Yeah,
well, this bet's nice and easy, just a call.
Yep, we call. So
what do we think when someone like overbets flop and then doesn't overbet turn?
This sort of player, I've got no idea, but I think he's not as confident, with his hand.
Yeah, because on the flop he's polarizing, he's overbetting.
Yeah.
So he's polarizing, and now on the turn he's not. He's depolarizing all of a sudden. That's fucking bonkers. It's to use the cool kids' fucking language. This is not a thing.
Yeah.
So we've got a bad player that's doing something that's not a thing.
Yeah.
I think there's some merit to raising here versus a player this bad, but I think calling's fine too. But I think there is some merit to raising. I think you can have like on the flop, you can have some like worse ace X that is like, oh fuck, don't want to see a flush draw coming. And now you've called on the turn, it's a brick. He's still want to protect against flush draws, but he's not confident enough to overbet now because he's been called on the flop. Yeah. I think a lot of the times it's going to be like a worse ace than we have, so we can potentially raise for value. But I understand if you just call, because reopening the betting and getting jammed on would stink. But I think given the fact he's polarized the flop and now he's depolarized, makes me want to raise. But I don't think we have to.
Okay, I don't think I do. I think I just call. And then he checks the river. Now, yeah,
it's the hand I picked as well.
Yeah,
because we check back a winner here, and now I've seen the hand play out. This is such a bad check back. Could you tell us why you think you've checked this back?
I genuinely I don't know. I just think he's bets big on a couple of streets. The check back, I don't know. The check back it should be telling me all I need to know.
In my opinion, yes. Now and again, we're going to warn ourselves here, but like again, to lean on a like Peter Clark a little bit, because like my game has gone through the roof since I started consuming a lot of his content. Like, what if we check back here? How often do you think we win this pot on check?
A lot of time.
Give me pull a percentage out your ass for me.
70.
Oh, I think more than that.
Yeah.
But even if it's 70%, so like if we're up in the I think we've got the best hand 70% of the time here, we're in slam dunk value bet territory. It's when we start getting down to like that. If we think we only win 50% on a check, then it's too thin. If we think we win 60% on a check, it's a bit thin. Once we start getting to 70% win on a check, we have to start value betting. I actually think we win on a check here, like close to like 100%.
Yeah.
I think we have an absolute slam dunk value bet, and I'd make a fucking big one as well.
Yeah.
I think we win here. I think we've got like the best hand here, like 80+% of the time. I think he's going to have hands like Ace Jack, Ace 7, Ace 8, fucking, loads and loads of like Ace X that was scared on the flop, so it overbet. On the turn, it didn't want to give a free card, but it lost a bit of confidence, and now it's just checking the river, probably hoping to bluff catch. I wouldn't be surprised to see a weak ace here that's just hoping you've got like 2 clubs or a jack queen or something like that that's just going to bluff. Then he can just like bluff catch with his ace 8 offsuit or whatever it is he's got. Yeah. I think that's going to be what's happening here. Not all the time. Sometimes he's going to have some better hands that he's just scared with. Occasionally he's going to have some traps, but the most of the time here I think we're going to bet, and he's either going to fold or he's going to call and we're going to win. I think we should just bet really big here, like 75% plus pot. Don't think we can overbet, but I think we should be using big bet.
Yeah. And obviously we know I don't. And yeah, 5-9.
I mean, what that's all about, I do not fucking know. I mean, that's just not. I mean, he's not. Well, who knows? He might call with that. He might just be like clubs missed, straights missed. He might just call everything. I've made many value bets in this pool, just because I've had to, expecting not to get called, and then just been like done a double take when I've seen how fucking wide they've called me. So fuck it, maybe he does call this hand. Maybe we just bet 2/3 to 3/4 pot on this river, and he just beats us into the pot.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, that's a blunder.
But it's a big blunder because we're missing value against these types of players is an absolute fucking crime. These are the players we're making all of our money from. He's basically, his lines told us we've got the best hand, and we've failed to acknowledge that and make a value bet, and it's a big mistake.
Yeah. No, fair point. Move on to the next one. Min raise early position. Limp. Again, I think this is probably 3-bet, isn't it?
This has to be a squeeze versus Min with a fish in the pot, and then you've got a reg who's flat at the bottom. The reg doesn't have a hand here.
Yeah.
Someone who's playing like reggish stats to flatten the button versus a fish. He doesn't have a hand. He's got nothing. That's dead money. That button's dead money, and we've got someone who's clearly a fish. We can tell that by stacks, and we can't tell by stats yet. It's only 4 hands, but so with the 75 50s, it doesn't mean nothing, but it doesn't mean a lot either. He might have been dealt pocket 3s, pocket 10s, ace queen off. 3 hands. 3 hands out of 4, entirely possible. But his stack size tells us a fish. This is just a mandatory squeeze, absolutely mandatory.
And again, I missed that. So that's because obviously again.
There's no way button can have a hand here. Have a strong hand. He's 3-betting all his strong hands. He needs to 3-bet his strong hands because he needs you to fuck off. He wants to isolate the fish.
Yeah.
So he can't have any traps here, or any like remotely strong. He's going to have small to medium pocket pairs, suited connectors. Maybe some like suited ace X that he's decided not to 3-bet. Some of like the weakest, some of the middling suited ace X. Who knows? But he doesn't have a strong hand. We should just squeeze. We should just make it like 240 here and win the pot nearly all the time pre. And then when we don't, we're just going to be in a good spot because button's going to fold a lot, and then this other guy's if he calls, he's likely going to call with quite a lot of dominated hands.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. A6-3. We get a bet from the initial raiser. This guy's just calling here.
Well, we're not folding. I was trying to think if we could raise, and I think not, because I think like villain 14 here. If it, just imagine like the type of hands I assigned in pre-flop were stuff like deuces through eights, deuces through sevens, see that. So he's got 2 sets in his range. I don't think he's got a ton of ace-x. He's going to have some flush draws too. I think our fold equity against button here is really quite low. I think we could easily be ahead of villain 13, but I think our fold equity versus both is quite like, and we want some fold equity because it's like it's that sometimes. Do we want fold equity? I think we always do. I think it's like too strong to bluff with, way too strong to bluff with. Too weak to value raise, but it feels like we want a bit of protection as well. But I'm worried about button just having too many sets here. There, I'm butchering this. Just call, basically. There's nothing else we can do, just call.
Yeah, and that's what we do. Okay. We check. We get another check, and we get another check.
Right, so okay, villain 14 now doesn't have a hand.
Yeah.
There's not a chance he's checking a better hand than ace jack on the button. When villain 13's in the pot, he's had 2 like players check to him on the turn, and he's not bet. As far as I'm concerned now, his hand's dead unless like a spade comes on the river or something like that. His hand's pretty dead. And so I think there's going to be a lot of rivers here. I'm just going to want to value bet on for like a block size. I think when it goes check through, I think we've got the best hand here a lot of the time, and unless the board changes significantly, I think we just have a block on the river. And that's the kind of thought process I'd be going through here. I'd be like, right, okay, if this checks through on rivers that don't change the board too much, we just have a block because we don't want to be check calling because we're just going to run into too many strong hands. We don't want to be check folding because our hand's a bit too strong, so then we just block the river. But if the river was, say, the queen of spades, then I would probably just be in check fold mode.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I'm definitely just blocking that river.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I do here. I'm getting ready to be called cunt, to be honest with you, but we'll see.
I like it.
We bet. He raises. Villain 14's out the way. What do we do
now?
here?
Now I don't like it as much. What is he saying he's got? He's saying he's got an ace. He's saying he's got a full house. So, like, we beat some ace-x. Do I think he checks back ace-queen on the turn? Maybe. We probably shouldn't, but maybe he does. So we lose to ace-queen. Do I think he does? Do I think he does this with a hand like ace-10? Maybe. I mean, we can't fold here because we beat some value and we beat bluffs. So there's no folding. It's not a nice spot, but we can't fold it. We do beat some value because he might, he's bad. If he's a fish, he might be overplaying ace-10. And he could just have some bluffs. So, yeah, we just call and we get on with our life.
Yeah, and that's what I do. And he's got 10 jack.
Happy days.
Yep.
Happy days.
Fairly.
Yeah, I like that you found the bet there.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
If you need to return that call, by the way, so we can pause.
No, it's fine. No problem.
Okay.
No.
Don't want you losing a sale.
No, it's right. I'm okay.
Okay, good.
Yes, this one you put in.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
And by the way, just so people know, I put hands in just not based on the result. I looked at any of these hands, just based on hands we've called a raise with free from the blinds that I don't think we should have called with. So I have no idea how this hand's going to play out. I just know you're going to call a raise here, and it's 10-7 off, and we just shouldn't be.
Yeah, I've no idea what I call a raise here, to be honest with you. But there you go. It's a check.
Oh, hang on. Right, no, okay, yeah. I remember why I asked you to look at this one. Yeah. So okay, we've just checked, which is obviously completely normal. We're going to be checking again, I presume.
Yeah.
Villain bets half pot, gut shot, backdoor flush draw, too early to fold, call.
Yeah.
Turn 6, checking again. Villain bets half pot. I remember now. You went to race here, don't you? Talk me through that. We got a 41-11. So what do we know about a 41-11? How do we what profile is that player?
Yeah, fish.
It's passive. 41-11.
Yeah.
So why are we check raising a passive player who's double barreled with a hand that's got such low equity?
Well, mainly because I'm a cunt, but other than that, I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know really. Yeah, I can't explain it, Paul. If I'm brutally honest.
Paul, who are you? My fucking mother.
Sorry, mate.
Are you either a fucking
Sorry,
police?
Reg.
You're either a police sergeant or my fucking mother. No, I don't get called Paul. Even my kids call me Reg. I'm currently at war with my daughter-in-law to be. He's not married. He's not engaged to her yet, but he better I'd marry her and make her an honest woman of her. Because I want to be called Reg by my granddaughter when she starts talking, and she's like, "No, you're not being Reg." And I'm like, well, it's up to me. What I'm surely it's up to me. If we live in a world where a person who menstruates can call themselves he, then surely I can call myself fucking Reg, but let's not go there because I don't want to go all right wing because I'm not right wing, but there are certain things in this world currently that make my fucking toenails itch, and maybe trans issues might be one of them. So forget that. Move along, Reg. Move along before you fucking get yourself cancelled. I don't get this. This is it's like why are we check raising? I don't know.
Yeah, I think in my head I'm probably trying to represent that I've got a 6 here, but yeah, that's still not great.
No, yeah, of course we're trying to rep that. My issue is that we're trying to do it against someone who's like really quite passive, so their betting range, and who knows what it is, in terms of like how wide they'll defend. Just say, for example, they've limped pocket fucking nines here. Hang on, my son's just coming. Yeah, I'm in the middle of something. Just take your coat and have a good day, Chief. All right, no, you're all right, mate. It's not your fault. See you later. Try, mate. No, my lad left his coat the other day. He's off on a day out with his mates somewhere, so he's to come for his coat. Oh. It's just like, what was it? The bet? Is this player bet folding a 4 here? Probably, maybe. But is he betting a 4? Probably not. Because his betting range here, if he's passive, it's going to be like stuff you'd imagine that's got decent equity, like flush draws, 5x, and then just like probably overpairs. I just don't. I think we have like so little fold equity here, and it's going to be really hard when we get called. We're either going to have to like just bluff the river and just try and force it fucking through, or just check fold and give up and just lose more red line. And I think that the chances of this race succeeding are relatively fucking small.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Unless you make it huge. I mean, you've made it a reasonable size, but I just think like Villa needs to fold 26% of the time. Needs to like fold. Ignore me. He only needs 26% equity to call this bet, and I suspect his range is going to have more than 26% equity here. I think he just never folds. I think he almost never folds, and I think we picked a hand where, like we don't improve very often.
No, you're right. It doesn't.
I mean, even if you improve to top pair, if you river a 10 here, what are you going to do? Are you going to try and bluff catch with it? Are you going to try and value bet it? Like the only out we can really bet is a 5, and then we're like, we're betting a straight on a paired board into a passive player, which probably going to be okay. But when we've got like literally no outs to the nuts and our out is like quite dirty, it's just a really crummy check raise.
Yeah, agreed. And I'd probably just give up here as well. I think I do. I just, not sure, but yeah. Oh no, I just bet.
Yeah, what is that size? Yeah, that is what.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I mean, this makes him fold draws.
Yeah.
So if he's like had King 10 of clubs, for example, or whatever, fucking Queen 8 of clubs, all kinds of things. I mean, it's 41-11, so he can have lots of suited stuff. This does a good job of us folding out that. It's flush draws that don't have any pairs. So I don't hate it, to be honest, in terms of like, if you said to me, right, Reg, here, I was just trying to target his flush draws that aren't a pair, but I was high carded, I'd be like, fair enough. It's got some merit, but I don't think that's what you were doing. I think you were just betting for betting's sake, and your heart wasn't in it, so you chose a shit size.
Yeah, no, totally agree. It's an absolute fuck up.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to bluff here, I would just bluff hard.
Yeah.
I'd just be like, right, okay, I'm repping a 6. Because here's the thing, like when you check where's the turn and bet this river, you're saying I've got a full house, I've got at least a straight, or I've got I've got at least a 6, or I've got a straight, or I've got a full house. And would you bet if you did have any of those hands, would you use that size?
No.
No. So right, and I know you played this hand since you watched that Peter Clark video. Now, see if you can remember, what did he say about how we pick our bluff sizes?
Oh God, now you put me on the spot. I can't remember that.
Our value range drives our bluff sizes, not the other way around. That the value drives the bus here. In terms of our river sizing, the value drives the bus, and then the bluffs just tag onto that. So we don't our value range here is going to be 6x or better, which all wants to bet big. So we either bet big here because we're repping 6x or better, or we don't fucking bet.
Yeah.
And do you remember him saying that from the video?
I do. Yeah.
Did you take a note on that?
Now you've said it. Yeah.
When you watch the videos, did you take notes on them?
I've got some notes, but yeah, I didn't write that down.
That's an important one.
Yeah.
Because like so many of us, myself included, even more so before I watched that video, like I was picking sizes for bluffs, thinking, right, I'm targeting a certain part of Villain's range here, so I'm just going to use that size. And that's another thing that Clark goes on about, is stop fucking targeting. The videos are so fucking, it's revolutionised like my post-op game, which wasn't terrible to begin with, but it's made it so much better, because a lot of things I was doing like relatively mindlessly, like on this spot, I'd be like, right, well, okay, what am I trying to make you fold? And now I don't think about it that way. Now I just think, right, well, okay, if I want to bluff this river, I don't really care what I try and make you fold. It's what does my value range want to be here?
Yeah.
What does my value bet size want to be? And then if I'm bluffing, I'm going to have two sizes here. I'm going to have my full houses, I'm probably going to overbet, and my 6x and straights are probably going to bet maybe like 3/4 pot. So then I know I can bluff for either of those sizes.
Yep.
Because my value with my 6x, I'm going to go 2/3 pot. With my 6x and straights, I'm going to go 3/4. With my full houses, I'm going to overbet. So I know I'm doing that, so I can do either of those sizes with my bluffs and be fine. Now, whether I'll bluff this hand or not, I don't know, because I wouldn't be in the spot. But in general, if you're like, first of all, figure out what your value hands want to do, then work out what sizes they want to use. There's normally going to be at least two sizes. And then you've just got your two sizes for your bluffs. And if you don't want to bluff for that amount, then don't fucking bluff. Yeah. This is just really bad. And it means you need to go back and watch them videos and take more notes.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point.
Because they're really fucking good. And this is if you play this hand after watching those videos, this is a butchering. And it tells me that you didn't do a good job of like taking as much in from them as they've got, because they've got so much good stuff in them. They merit watching several times.
Yeah.
And then how I did it was like anything that I kind of already knew I didn't bother with, and then stuff he said, just like the value drives the bluffs, like I kind of already knew that, but just because he's worded it that way, it just comes across with such fucking clarity. It's just such an easy thing to remember. So I just put that down as one of my notes. Value bets drive bluff sizes, not the other way around. And then so I just know now in future that I'm not going to make as many shit bluff sizes, because I'm just going to be thinking first, right, I want my bluffs when I'm in a value, so what does my value want to do here? And there's all kinds of things like that, so you need to go back and watch those videos again, take better notes, and then review them notes before your sessions.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
So you're not making those really shit errors, because that's really, everything about that hand's quite bad.
Yeah, no,
and I can say that to you because I know you well enough, but that's dog shit, and that is, if we were doing cunt hand of the day, I think that one's won it.
It's won it by a mile.
But we got one to go, so you never know.
You knew that when you put it in.
Yeah, I did. This could be like the 6-chair challenge in X Factor, though. where they save all the best bits all the best ones till last. Cunt of the day might be last.
Oh,
just
you
don't
never know, do you? You never know with me. There's always an option. So blind v blind again. I think we're going to be. I'll be amazed if I don't. Well, raise this up, but who knows with me? Oh, we do.
I would have 4x, but again, I'm not bothered. But I would 4 or 5x versus the 49.8. Again, just not paying rate pre is good. Having them calling with a significantly dominated hand for the large size is good. I think 3x is too small. I would just say you want to make your default 4x and sometimes maybe even bigger.
Okay. Yeah. Nice flop.
I'll say. So this is a spot where we can just range bet small or we can be greedy. And I don't mind either way. Against a reg here, I would just range bet like quarter pot, third pot. Against a fish, I'm probably going to be greedy and size up a little bit.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with this, but I would have been greedy. I'd have been up at half pot or slightly bigger.
Okay.
Because we just want to start building a slightly bigger pot. So if we go slightly bigger on the flop, everything just grows exponentially. If we bet say an extra, say we bet 59 here instead of 39, when he calls, that's going to put an extra 40 cents in the pot for the turn. So like the pot's going to be maybe 20% bigger on the turn. We make a slightly bigger bet again. So just by using like a slightly bigger bet on the flop, we might end up making an extra 10 or 15 blinds on the hand. Just by that extra one big blind. And against a fish who are going to be like relatively insensitive to size, they've either got the hand they're calling with or the hand they're not calling with, just be greedy, just be exploitable, right? Okay, against a reg, it's just 1/3 bet here, and against a fish, it's maybe 2/3 because they're going to fall slightly more to 2/3, but when they do call, we're just going to win bigger pots. And again, to go back to another thing Pete Clark says, and it's for the people bored of me mentioning him, I make no apologies because his content is really good for microstakes players. Magnitude beats like the size of the pots we win, especially against fish, but against everyone. The size of the pots we win are more important than the frequency we win them. I'd rather win a big pot less often than win a smaller pot more frequently. So I just want to build this pot against his fish at this point.
No, that's fair. He calls. We get the nut flush.
Beautiful. We want some nice big bets here. I like it.
So we go pot here.
So at this point, we're just hoping he's got a spade, aren't we? We're hoping he's got Jack of spades, King of spades, Nine of spades, something like that.
He does just call.
Good. So I like the fact you sized up there because fine. That size is going to make him fold a lot of hands that aren't flushes, but it's going to maximise our value against flushes, and that's what we want to try and do here. We just want to try and win a big pot against a hand that we've got absolutely fucked. So I like that. Odd pair river. Unideal because now we can't overbet anymore.
Yep.
But we can certainly make a big juicy bet.
Yeah. I've got a feeling I'm going to disappoint you here, mate.
I already know you're going to disappoint me. What I know is why. Because this is why I picked this hand up. This is a winner that we check back.
Yeah.
This is why I picked this one out.
Yeah.
Why the fuck have we not found a value bet here?
Because the board pairing is the only thing I can say here is.
But we can just bet fold.
Yeah.
We could just bet really big. We just bet like 80% pot here. Just fucking bosh out fucking €4.50, and when he raises, he's just got a full house and fold.
Yeah.
And if he then raises the King of Spades, then absolutely good for him. Yeah. He's not going to. Yeah. That's the thing. He's just not going to. Fair. He's going to call with all his spade hands, and he's going to raise with all his full houses. And maybe if he's got a hand like deuces, maybe he doesn't even raise that.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is just like it's such a bad check back. Mm-hmm. And again, it's another reason why your red line's going, because this now has just been neutral for red line. He's just got this wind's gone on our blue line, and it should be going on our red line.
Yeah.
And our red line's not that important, but when we look at our grass and our red line's going down, we do lose confidence. Yeah. We lose a bit of self-belief because it's like that's fucking shit, and you beat yourself up for it. This is just like fine, maybe we bet here and he just folds. So then it goes now red line. When we bet any calls, it goes now blue line, but our green line goes up. It's just like, yeah, this is just such. I get the board's paid, so like our hand strength has been reduced, but we're in position against a fish with a nut flush. I'm not letting a pissy little board pair. When he hasn't shown any strength previously, you'd imagine at some frequency he might have raised a set. Just say he had like 3 deuces on the flop, he might have raised that at some frequency. He wouldn't raise a turn. But he had 3. If he'd limp called tender, he'd limp called deuces. He's going to check raise a flop some of the time. Who knows how often, but some of the time. So he doesn't even have them at full frequency. This is just such a bad check bet. We should just bet 3/4 pot here and expect to be called an insanely large amount of the time.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I'll check it back, and he shows 7-9, so he probably calls that as well. Well, he is going to.
You would imagine so,
with his stats, he's going to call that. So missed value there.
And like these are the things that prevent you from doing as well as you should. Because I know that you love fucking, you proper love, like me, you love your poker. You haven't got as much time to play as me because you're a businessman. You've got other things like stealing your time away. But just because you like play recreationally, there's no excuse for playing like a fucking recreational.
Mm-hmm.
You're in, like, for example, you've been in like the Facebook group for ages. I don't think I've ever seen you post a hand. You're in the Discord group now. I'm not expecting to see you post one. When I was in the Sky Discord with you, you never posted a hand. You never reach out for anyone. Like, you're just there doing it, and you try to do it on your own. Like, you'll go off my radar for months and months on end. And you try to do it on your own, and you've just got like all kinds of like resources available to you. You've got the YouTube stuff of like Peter Clark put you onto that's really fucking good. You've got players who are like slightly more experienced than you in Discord groups that if you post a hand, they will fucking absolutely give you like feedback. I'm not saying it's all going to be fucking great, but it's all going to be thought provoking, and then it's going to create discussion. You're going to get other people's perspectives. It's just going to give you a better rounded view on how your opponents view the game as well. So then you have a better overview of how population plays and thinks. And all these things that are there to you, and because you love poker so much, I know you love discussing it because we do this. But like I did a video with somebody yesterday that's never going to see the light of day because I'm a technical fish and his audio wasn't captured. So I'm going to do the rant again now. There's so many people who are like part of communities and then they just lurk and they get nothing from them. But I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's fear of looking stupid, if it's fear of like someone like being unpleasant to them, being rude to them, making them feel bad. That doesn't happen in my communities. If someone posts a hand and there's someone's a dickhead, it's a dickhead that gets fucking, like reprimanded. Because there's no such thing as like, if someone's posting a hand that they played shit, but they don't know they played it shit, by all means, it's our responsibility as like, part of that community to say, look, mate, that was a bit shit. But do it in a way that doesn't make you feel shit about yourself. Do it in a way that doesn't fucking compromise your fucking dignity and self-respect. And the communities I've managed, it's always been like that. And anyone that's been toxic as fuck and like just try to be the big swinging dick, the alpha male, all those things, they get told to shut the fuck up and they get muted or they get banned. Because I want communities where people like yourself aren't scared to fucking to post hands, to even like do what we do sometimes in there, to like, right, I've got a few hands of what have you, anyone want to join me in a voice call? So you don't have to wait for me. You can just be like, right, lads, tonight I've got, or whatever, I've got a bit of spare time, I've got a few hands of what have you. Does anyone want to jump in and look at some of them with me? Because that's an even better way of doing it. And more often than not, someone will be like, yeah, I'll do that with you for an hour or two, mate. But people are just too scared, they're too shy. I've started a Discord group. It's already got over 100 members, and there's maybe only 10 people who've actually chatted. And it's such a shame that people just join and lurk because there's so much more to be gained from them. I'm going to put a link to Discord beneath the video for anyone who wants to join, by the way, because I'm shutting my Facebook group down because Facebook's just pretty old technology. And to be honest with you, I'm sick of just fucking blocking people wanting to shill fucking PPP clubs and people wanting to sell fucking pirated fucking video courses and things. I'm getting bored of doing that. I want to come off Facebook as well because social media in general is just a fucking sewer. But join the Discord group. But once you join, get the fuck involved. Don't just join and then lurk, because you'll get a little bit from it. Maybe you'll enjoy reading the threads. Maybe you'll get a bit, but you won't get as much as if you actually put some of your own stuff into it. Like you'll get more having your own hand reviewed than you'll get joining a hand review and I'm having my hand reviewed.
Yeah,
because you'll do things, you'll know why you've done it, and you need those specific thought processes, you'll need them adjusted sometimes. And your specific thought process can't be adjusted if you're reviewing other people's hands.
Yeah, I'm a professional lurker in anything I do. That's
Yeah.
me all over.
So
I need to
just
get
out of
involved.
interest, on a human level, why? Why do you alert rather than get? Because I'm interested because I'm when I join communities, I like to get involved. So,
Yeah.
I'm interested in why people do lurk. So what's your motivation for lurking and not actually like involving yourself?
I'm naturally shy, really. I think when it comes to stuff like that, and I don't, yeah, I just don't think I've got as much to offer. I do like reading I read pretty much all of it, but yeah, I don't, yeah, I don't know I can't put it any more than that. Really, it's
Right, so you don't have much. What do you mean you don't have much to offer? Yeah, I get that. Like if you were in a chat with me, and three other regs who were all winning, you'd feel like you'd have a bit of imposter syndrome. It's nonsense. You shouldn't fucking have it because you're still a fucking human being and you're an intelligent fucking man. So like, you shouldn't have that, but you would have. You would have a sense of imposter syndrome.
mm,
But like, I've got nothing to offer. Of course you have. You know, 'cause even if nothing else, right? Even if like you're worse than me at poker, I can still learn things about the game from you because you might say something like, "All right, so that's how this players of this profile think." So I might learn something about players who I like tag in with you. So even though you're not teaching me something cutting edge and new, I'm still learning something about what a certain portion of the population might be thinking that wouldn't otherwise have crossed my mind. So, like, you're getting stuff. People have always got things to offer, and it's nonsense to say otherwise. Or you might just have watched something, or you might have ran a particular fucking sim that I've never ran. Then you might just say something that I'd be like, fucking bosh. That's a light bulb moment. So, I don't like it. And there'd be loads like you. There'd be fucking 90% of the population will be like you, who just think, yeah, I'm not as good as these lads. I'm a little bit intimidated. Don't want to post in case I put something stupid. So I'll just put nothing. And that's going to really stunt your fucking growth. Like
yeah,
ever since like 2006, I've been member of poker communities. The first one was a Pokemon called Eat My Stack. I was on 2+2. Then like Reddit and then Facebook and then Discord groups. You need, if you want to grow as a player, you've got to like get into these communities and then also get involved with them. Because if you're just lurking around, yeah, you might learn a little bit here and there, but you won't learn anywhere near as much. Your improvement won't be anywhere near as quick. Just getting in there, getting your hands dirty, exposing yourself. Like it's fair to say that most of these hands here, we haven't played them very well.
yeah.
But no one's there won't be a single shit comment about you in the chat in the comments. I don't get many comments anyway, but I know there won't be a single bad one. The video will get plenty of likes, and even though I've been quite critical of your play, it's all been done in a way that as you going away, hopefully with optimism, not fucking hell. I've just been slaughtered there. I don't want to play tonight. And that's what you get in a lot of these groups, and especially in the voice call chats, because people might be pretty hard behind the keyboard, but within a voice call, that people, even the ones who might be a little bit like arsey when they're typing, the way more empathetic when they're actually in a voice call. So just get fucking involved with you and any cunt else who's in my Discord. Get involved more, post more fucking hands, chat about anything, doesn't matter. Just like once, even if you just want to chat about fucking something that's not poker related, once you feel part of the community and you start just building like little like online relations with people, then it'll give you more confidence in general. You might join a conversation about Tottenham, and then you're like, oh, I've talked to 3 people there, and then next thing you might be more comfortable talking about hand because you broke the ice. A lot of the times when you join these servers, and the first few posts are really awkward because you don't want to make a post and have no one reply because that makes you feel fucking weird. And so I get, even though it's like an online situation, I get it's still really possible to be shy, even if you can just like hide behind your keyboard. I totally get how it's possible to be shy, but once you break that ice, then it's fine. So you break the ice, post some fucking hands now and again. Not saying you got to post like 10 a day, but anytime you're in a spot where you like really wouldn't mind getting some of the views on that, just post a fucking hand, post your thoughts, ask people's responses. Try not to post results like Tommy did, because once you post results, people just it's easier for people to talk about, and people just don't comment when they can see results of that either. People like to guess what people have got, don't they? What have you? So get in there, post some hands, and not just you, but anyone who's in that group, and just get the more you put in, the more you get out, like anything in life.
No, that's good advice, mate. As always.
Right. So don't you go when I say goodbye, because I'm just going to say goodbye in the video now, then I'll say goodbye to you. And
Yeah.
then it's, I think it might be Nana nap time for me. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Simon's committed to do this with me once a week. So hopefully he will. Now, he just sometimes go off grid because Simon runs his own business. And sometimes that just gets to a point where he just doesn't play much poker. So we're going to try and do it every week. But if we don't, then we don't. But I am looking for more people to do this with. Owen, who I spoke to yesterday, I did 2 videos with him yesterday. He's going to be coming back with some more. Hopefully, Martin will be back soon rather than later. Anyone else wants to get involved, do some of these with me, and you're available Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, or Fridays. So basically, it's weekdays. Don't know why I didn't say that. In the AM UK time, get in touch because these are the only kind of videos I'm going to be doing going forward. I'm going to be doing very few of the videos, so videos will come out as and when people make one with me. I won't be doing any on my own. So yeah, get involved, make some videos with me like this, and yeah, it's all good fun. So thanks for watching, everybody. I just because Simon's here and he's one of the only Tories in the world I like. Fuck the Tories and any cunt who supports them. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye for now.